Just one day, I'm going to call Robin just to call her up and BS a little bit and not call her up when she's in the middle of work, up to her elbows. I mean, Robin Travers is the news director at Keys 660 Radio. Now, Keys 660 Radio is based out of Williston, but it has a footprint that goes to a lot of different places. It goes all over the state of North Dakota, Montana, the southern part of Saskatchewan, Manitoba. In other words, everybody can hear it. Right? Everybody can hear it. I've been in Dickinson and listened to a Key 660 as clear as a bell. And I know for a fact that there's a lot of people in Dickinson that call Key 660 their home radio station. So at times like this, it is so vital. It is so important because what we're seeing with the power outages is something that people just, they're gonna say, where do I go to find out when my power's getting on? Where do I go to find out if I can help? Well, one of those places is Keys 660 that people tune to. And so I'm going to bring Robin in and tell her that someday, Robin, it won't be in a state of an emergency that I'll call you and ask you to come on down the road. Okay? Deal?
The door's always open for you, Joel.
Want to talk a little bit about what you're up against now. A lot of people without power. You at Keys 60 had to go through this yourself. I mean, you had to take a step back because you didn't have what you needed to do, what you were going to do. Describe to people what happened there, Robin.
So actually, we're looking at two blizzards, as you know, and our Governor Burgum, has also come out with an emergency declaration to cover both of those events. So the first event, we go back to not this past weekend, but the weekend before, that weather came in Tuesday the 12th, and our management, thankfully, we were told not to report, and we really got hammered. And I could have left my house if I'd wanted to. However, we then turned to social media and logging in to keep at least a voice on the air and to keep all of those balls, up in the air so that people could know what's going on. So we have a backup generator here, so we can keep on the air even if staff can't get in. So we did that the week before, and then we were faced with the same thing to a little bit of a lesser degree, but we didn't get in till noon yesterday in terms of the news presence. So again, we have a generator that keeps us on the air, but we have to be creative in terms of letting people know that we are still on top of the news and the emergency situations. So we have a lot of partners in that as well.
Yeah, and it shows. I mean, it shows. I know from our work together in radio that people are counting on it. You can be without power and be one battery away from making sure that you can hear Keys 660 and getting the information you need. Now, so often at times like this, the power companies, the rural co-ops, the emergency management, that rural fire district, the schools, I mean, you're the one they're going to call to get word out. And much of that must be going on, Robin.
There's a lot of that going on. It's funny. If I go back to like the weekdays leading up to the first storm, when we had to have a game plan for who was going to log in remotely, put updated weather cards together. So Scott Haugen in operations and my afternoon news anchor, Mike Ruder, they did some of that heavy lifting. I caught all the social media balls and the website balls. So even my husband said, well, what are you doing? And I'm in the bed, but I have the laptop going and the two phones going. And I said, well, I'm actually still working from home. So we work to, and you would know this with your lovely producers and so forth, we work to try to divide and conquer so that even if we can't be live on the air, we still somehow don't lose a lot of traction, and people know that, well, if I don't hear them, they have a robust website and Facebook presence, so I'm going to go there. And a lot of folks are very in tune with messaging our Facebook page. So a lot of folks reach out to me on Messenger more than I've ever seen, which has been quite interesting.
So personalize this story for me, Robin. I know that you've been talking to people. You know, there's always that family, that face out there that is sitting without power, or that story of how people are going that extra mile to help someone out. But that's what you're doing. That's what you're covering. So personalize this story for me, Robin.
Well, I'm reminded of folks in industries with which I've never, until I landed here, have been working these, into this 5 years now, with which I'd otherwise been unfamiliar. And I'm thinking about our farmers, our ranchers, and I'm very tight with a few, particularly two ladies who I know through the former District 8 school system here in Williams County, because I live in the rural part of Williams County. And one in particular, I'm going to give her a shout out, Penny Soysas. Her husband's in ranching, and she actually uploaded a video. She's driving, this is rural Williston, and you can see the down power lines. And she talks about how her husband lost two calves in all of this. And then another gal, Selena Gustavison, was posting pictures of two different baby calves they were in the process of saving. So you saw firsthand pictures of this calf in someone's living room, having been fed syrup. I didn't know they did that. Okay. And having a hot bath and towels, and, being placed next to the outflowing from the heat source. And so these are things that I never thought, these are things people are dealing with and have to deal with because they're firsthand operators, and that's their business. That's their livelihood.
Yeah, that's about as personal as you can get. When you're sitting there and you got a calf in the bathtub, trust me, been there, done that. I went to buy something once, Robin, at a farm site of good friends, and old farmhouse, one bathroom. I go in 100 miles an hour, was going to buy some cabinets, and I have the bathroom. She goes, yep, right down the hall. I go in there, and all of a sudden, bah, and it's a calf in the bathtub. And I can tell you this, wakes you up in a hurry when you're a city guy, like I was. In terms of just the community spirit, the attitude, what is Williams County like right now? Are people... when you're without power for a couple days, you can get down. Life is bad enough coming off these two blizzards, and now to be without power. What's the overall attitude from the people you're running into and talking to?
The ones that I'm running into and the folks that I've been speaking with has been largely holding their heads high and their chins up. I mean, there's a lot of recovery to do. But it's that kind of, that's North Dakota, we're going to take a step back, assess where we are, and then move forward and understand what it is that we have to do in order to get back, into our ranching practices. It is still calving season. Looking at how soon... Hang on, I got the phone going. How soon we can, hopefully start planting. We dialogue very, very frequently, every week, as a matter of fact, with our news partners on the TV side, KX News, and we're asking them about, farming and when farmers can expect to plant, and it has to do with, how much moisture's covered the ground. Is it even? Is it not even? If we'll get more, if we won't get more. And so I would say, despite all of that, people are trying to keep their chins up. They're trying to be upbeat. We are trying to do our humble part in just getting information out. I don't always know who knows what. So when information comes to us like, there's available funds through a livestock indemnity program that ranchers can access, that helps with mortality rates of herds that have to do with the weather event. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So we try to, get a hold of these things and push them out. And I think that's helping people feel like there's resources, that we will recover.
There's at least some progress being made. I mean, that's That's what you, Robin, you and the whole team at Keys, great job. Keep doing what you're doing. People are counting on you now more than ever. And there'll be a time to rest, Robin. There'll be a time when your husband says, quit working so much from home. Trust me.
I think you told me that last time.
I'm coming up to Williston in May. We'll see you then, Robin.